Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Nada Yada Island.
I knew I deserved so much more, so I left. I finally switched to Metro and got what I was looking for.
Get one line for only $25 a month with AutoPay. Just bring your phone to Metro and experience all the data you want on the largest 5G network. That's Nada Yada Yada, only at Metro by T-Mobile.
First month is $30. Bring your number and ID. Offer not available if with T-Mobile or with Metro in the past 180 days.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Post-Match Raw. I am your late-stepping host, Guy Drinkel, although it is the Cup, so I usually do this anyway, so not much of a difference. But we're here to talk about a win, a 4-0 win over Accrington Stanley, and I am joined by the AI Scouted lads. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Guy. How are you?
Just chilly. It's just chilly.
It's nice and wet here, Guy. It's nice and wet. I looked out today. There's puddles everywhere. It's not raining, but when you walk outside, the air is so damp that when you go back in, you look like you've been through a car wash. This is the ideal Irish weather, you see. We're not built for the cold. We're built for the wet and the slop, so it's great to be Irish today.
Beautiful. It's just frosty here. Just frosty. I can deal with frost, especially from my bloody house. But we also have Karl with us. How are you doing, Karl?
I have absolutely no comment about the weather, but I'm fine, thanks.
You're just missing the crack. It's just missing part of the show. I feel like we should end there. I mean, Karl, I'll stick with you. I mean, the FA Cup, I think you both touched on it on the preview. And considering it was a preview that was mixed in with like 7 other topics, it probably surmises where we place this in terms of priorities. But it was a game we were 99.9% always going to win because Accrington Stanley are a League Two side, and we weren't exactly just going to play a team full of children. We don't know who we have in the next round yet. Obviously, there's a few big teams playing each other, so there'll be potential for another weaker opponent. But, I mean, what were you feeling before this game? Because we obviously have strong positions in the Champions League and the Premier League. But we got a chance here to see some squad players and younger players. Just kind of a fun afternoon without any real pressure.
Yeah, exactly that. I didn't really think anything of this game, to be perfectly honest. Not in a dismissive way, but just in a sense that like so many of the other matches have so much riding on it, and like there's always something going on in the build-up, isn't it? Whether it's a fitness issue or a contract issue or something going on. And this one was kind of just nice to walk into, not really have to think about too much beforehand and just sort of sit down and watch it and be like quite comfortable, if you know what I mean. Like there was no like real reason for your heart rate to be going, and like it was just a nice kick about with your mates, basically, wasn't it?
It really was. It was like a Boxing Day mess about at 5-a-side or something. It was really nice. Dave, I mean, similar question. Are you just like thoughts before the game? Just anyone you were kind of looking forward to seeing in the from the starting 11?
Oh, I think Rio's the obvious one, just because. But I was really looking forward to seeing Chiesa play. And then obviously he doesn't get the starting 11 and Twitter goes into meltdowns and there's tantrums and all sorts of stuff going on. But, you know, I thought it was good management from Ireland today. You can't really just bring a fella back who hasn't really kicked the ball since May, throw him into the starting lineup and expect everything to go okay. It's better to bring him on in the flow of a game, I think, when, you know, the pace is maybe worn down a little bit. So I thought that was quite good. I thought Morton was good to see him as well, because obviously he's only played, I think, twice before this season. So it was nice to see him. And anytime we get to see Wataru Endo play, it's always a joy.
Especially the new ball-playing centre-back we dreamed of.
That's exactly it. This is the rebirth of Franz Beckenbauer on our team.
Absolutely. Karl, I'll come to you for the rest of the starting 11, just to quickly go through it. We had Keller in goal, Trent starting at right back, maybe surprisingly, but it was only for a 60 or 50 odd minutes, wasn't it? Kwanzaa recovered from his illness. Endo at centre back, as I just mentioned there. Tsimikas at left back. Morton, Szoboszlai in a double pivot, and then a front four of Harvey Elliott, Diogo Jota, Gomoa, I'm going with, and Darwin Núñez. Just quickly go through the bench, because obviously a lot of them came on as well. Bradley Kier, the Dans, Diaz, Yaros, McAllister, McConnell, Trenioni, and Andy Robertson. I mean, Karl, similar question to you there. I mean, starting 11, any thoughts on surprising starters, or your thoughts on the Chiesa not starting as well?
Yeah, I mean, not bothered by Chiesa not starting, but I was surprised by it. But he's been fit for a while in terms of being available, because he's been on the bench for half a dozen games or so. It's just that he hasn't had any minutes. So, did say during Scouter, didn't we? Like, you could start him and just see how he gets on and that, but how carefully are they managing him is the real question. But plenty of energy and all that when he came on, but I think we could see that there wasn't, like, from a standing start, a burst, which we would have seen from Chiesa beforehand. So clearly he's got a bit of a way to go, and probably bringing him on against League Two players who had already played an hour and 60 minutes or so, he was then able to be a bit more beyond them in terms of what physicality he had available to him, by the time he's warmed up for 10 minutes and 15 minutes. So it was fine. I was happy to see Tyler Morton get the sort of his role in midfield, but I kind of feel we'll get into it in during the pod, but I feel the same way about this game as I did last time he played in the Cup. It's just impossible for a player like him to impress in this kind of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel a little bit sorry for him again, but the rest of it was good. I was glad Tsimikas played and got the full 90. Szoboszlai getting a start, as we mentioned on Scout, that was his first start since before Christmas. So again, that was important. Just generally pretty good. I think 90 minutes for people like Darwin Núñez is a big step forward as well, a big positive in terms of fitness.
Yeah, and obviously Darwin misses the Nottingham Forest game through suspension as well, so it's probably not surprised he gets the full 90, but yeah, it was good to get minutes in his legs as well. So let's get into the game. I mean, the game kind of goes as you'd expect. We have a lot of the ball. You can clearly see we're the superior side, which you always sound like a bit of a dickhead when you say stuff like that, but it's just the truth. Nice cross by Tsimikas in the early stages. Elliott pulls it back to Darwin. It's just behind him. He can't really put it on goal. To be fair to them, they're pressing quite well. I think they end up giving that up, especially on the goal kicks later on. 12 minutes in, Dave, I'll come to you because you mentioned him in the lineup bit. Gomoa, just every time he got the ball, he was trying to skin people, which can become a problem eventually. But you see a 16, 17-year-old lad with such confidence already trying this against professional footballers as such a young lad. He was just bringing excitement to the game so early on.
He was. Every time he got the ball, people seemed to be kind of on the edge of their seat and expecting something for him. And like he had some really nice moments in the early going, but it also felt like he was a little bit too frantic and a little bit too amped up. Once he got comfortable and really settled into the game, I think he actually started to play better, even if maybe there was less attempts to beat people. But yeah, it was good to see the senior players in the team being happy to give him the ball. And it was also notable that every time he got the ball, there was a help defender coming across. Mm-hmm. So they were treating him with real respect, not like you'd normally treat a kid where you just say, oh, you take care of him. You're a real pro and he's a child. You take care of him. They were sending help every single time, which, again, once he settled down and realized, right, there's 2 and sometimes 3 coming to me, which means there's at least 1 free Liverpool player somewhere near me, I thought he started to impact the game a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I forgot to mention the second half of this, but the bit I just noted there, it's Gomoa starts it. Him and Tsimikas, I think, had really nice connection all game long, whilst they were both on the pitch, obviously. But this is the moment where Tsimikas passes to... Ngoma tries to skin a few people, then it ends up at Tsimikas, who passes it to Dom, who dummies it for the Trent shot, and then Darwin just skies the follow-up shot, Karl. I mean, that was probably our first nice move of the game. And yeah, out of the players, I think Trent and Dom especially were the ones who just thought, I'm kind of a different species to the Accrington players, because they just seem to just try and take the mick every time.
Yeah, I don't think that they tried to
Not the mick.
really take the piss.
Yeah,
No, it's just like it's quite a good way of explaining it, to be honest. They are just on a different plane. That kind of play is not even the technique, to be honest. It's the timing and appreciation of space and the understanding of how and where to make contact with the ball and all the rest of it. All the stuff that goes into making elite players elite. They have that, and you can see the difference. So yeah, I think that's fair to mention that they are very different to those two in particular. It was good to, like I said, to see some of those seniors get the minutes that they needed, and they were always going to be the ones who would make, I think, most difference if the opposition was well organised and working hard and athletic and physical and all the rest of it. And Accrington were, to be honest. We shouldn't overlook what they put into the game as well. They were not drawn into pressing ridiculously high. They were not afraid to commit bodies forward when they did counter-attack. They were really well drilled in terms of spaces and stopping us passing through the centre of the pitch. I have seen Liverpool play Premier League teams who defended a lot worse than they did today, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I thought they were, especially up until the second goal, because obviously it comes out second half, they have to take a few more chances. But I thought for the majority of the first half, they were just so disciplined. Like, there was that moment where Kelleher had the ball for what seemed like about 5 minutes, and he was trying to bait them into pressing him, and none of them even hinted at jumping towards the press. They were all just sitting back, blocking off passing lanes, making things nice and condensed, and telling us, right, you come play through us. We're not just going to roll over. You're actually going to have to come and play through us. And like Karl said, they were really well drilled, really well organized, and you could tell they were really up for it. Like, this is the magic of the cup. This is lads like Sean Wally up front. Like, he's a lifelong Liverpool fan. And he's played most of his career at non-league. This is the biggest moment of his career and most of these lads' careers. Like, you've got the two boys at fullback, Donald Love and Ben Woods. They're both ex-United Academy. So they grew up hating Liverpool, coming through that academy, being told Liverpool were the enemy. So this meant a lot to them. You've got Billy Crellin in goal. He's on loan from Everton. So this mattered to him as well. You've got their manager, who's an Everton season ticket holder. And I'm not being funny. He looks like an Everton fan. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. But you look at his face. He looks like an Everton fan. So all of these lads were well up for this today. And you could tell they were really taking it seriously, but also really trying to enjoy it and remember it and make sure that, they took every part of that game in.
Yeah, obviously people will step up, and you've got to play very differently against Liverpool than you would another League Two side. But they sat 19th in League Two and didn't seem like that. I know we're a completely changed side, but I wouldn't have thought that watching them, obviously, for the first time. But yeah, it's obviously a very different occasion, but they look like a decent side to me. Where are we up to? Bit of panicky defending from us, which you kind of expect when it's a completely new back line and one of them's not even a centre-back. Accrington get a corner. We seem to be a bit dozy from corners all day. It didn't really lead to anything, but we just seem to be sleeping a bit. There's a big gap in my notes because it's just sterile possession, which you kind of expect in a game like this. Sloppy play at the back gets to a free kick. But this leads to our goal, Karl, and the speed at which we counter-attack after a couple sloppy passes from them, a couple sloppy touches from them, it just kind of summarises the difference in level, because the way we break on them, I know we've done this to Premier League teams and Champions League teams in the past, but I just don't think this is something they see at this level, because the quick passing from Dom and Trent and the speed of Darwin is just, I think that was just different levels, and it's just an easy finish for Jota in the end.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a good pass before it gets to Darwin, but as soon as Dom makes that touch and pass that he does, that's a goal. Like you could already see it as a Liverpool supporter, as someone who's watched us do that, like you say, to better, quicker, stronger, more able teams. You knew as soon as that pass was made, that's a scoring chance at the very least now. And it was brilliant. And each of them in that played their part. And every ball, to be fair, was absolutely perfectly weighted. Like we've seen, not necessarily Darwin, but plenty of players in that position before either lash it across the face of goal or cross it off the deck or put it right near to the keeper or that kind of thing. But it wasn't. Everything was very, very well weighted. It was a very good move. We'd waited quite a while to get that kind of moment where we had a bit of space to run into, and it wasn't wasted at all, was it? Everyone who needed to be getting forward did so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Dave, your thoughts on the goal? I mean, just a really nice counter-attacking move from us.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Yeah, like really swift. It's a decent headed clearance. Dom does really well. It looks like he's underhit the pass, but it's actually perfectly weighted to Trent. Trent fires it for Darwin, and like once Darwin gets the ball under control and moves into the space, it becomes obvious what's going to happen. Jota just has to stay onside, and it's a really good goal. You know, I think the commentator said it was it starts obviously from that free kick of theirs. It was 13 seconds from when the free kick was taken until we scored, and the key part is it's their left back who's overtaking that free kick. So he's as far out of position as he possibly could be when we start breaking down their left, our right, and we take advantage of it. And you know, it's a really nice goal.
Absolutely is. And I think this is where the game it falls into a bit more of a pattern of us just having the ball, because they did have a couple moments. As I mentioned, they won a free kick, which led to our goal. They were having a couple corners, etc. But after the goal, I think the game did just change a bit. My next note here is the Jota driving through the middle, and I think it leads to a Morton flick on, and then an Elliott shot, which is just kind of at the keeper. Let's just talk about Elliott for a sec. I mean, Karl, coming to you, I mean, he's obviously had a weird season with injury, and he's clearly not as in favour with Arne Slot as he was with Jurgen Klopp. Obviously, different tactical setup. You'd probably think he's now more directly competing with Mo Salah rather than a number 8 position, which he was under Klopp. What do you make of him? Because he's not exactly come off with like a hat-trick or anything like that, but you mentioned it with Morton. It's kind of a tough game to judge there. But Elliott's obviously playing a bit more of a forward role. he played two roles today in the number 10 and the right wing position. I don't know, it just seems like he played well without excelling, I'd probably say.
Yes. I think obviously you have to quantify that in terms of the game time that he has had this season, which isn't excessive by any stretch of the imagination. And I think between Premier League, Champions League and League Cup, he played like 150 minutes for us so far this season, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like absurdly low, let's be honest. It's difficult when you're in a forward line and you don't play to come in and have an impact. But then on the other hand, you see on the opposite side of the pitch, someone much younger and someone who's not got any kind of experience whatsoever comes in and plays more effectively than you do. It's probably quite annoying, to be honest. And like, we'll no doubt mention him as the game goes on as well. But for Nunez as well, you could probably see a lot of annoyance of a similar sort of thing. Like, I think he did a good game of his own, let's say, but things weren't going for him to star, let's say. And exactly the same for Elliott. Like, he did get involvement in plenty of build-up phases for us, and he was quite hard-working. He picked up fairly good positions, and there were a couple of really nice moments. But generally speaking, he wasn't like a critical player in the game. Like, it could have been anybody else there at all, and still the same outcome, you know? So I do think that's... Sorry.
Did you feel like... Because I kind of felt like every time he got the ball, he was taking a little bit too much out of it.
Elliott.
And he was trying to like make something happen every time rather than just be a link in the chain.
Yes, but
like, it was almost like he was trying to prove something to the manager or to whoever. And it just, like, he tried a few passes that were, frankly, just outside his scope of ability.
Yeah,
it was a little bit frustrating.
Yes, but I think that's like this similar to what I was saying with Morton. Like, from Morton's position, you can't do that. Whereas in Elliott, you kind of have to, if you know what I mean. Like, if Morton tries continually to be, the one who makes the line-breaking pass or the one who finds a way to raise the tempo and is like pushing himself on for a 1-2 and that kind of thing, the role that he's in, you're going to get caught out and you're actually going to cost the team at the other end. Like, I think it's really, really difficult for a player in our setup in that position, Morton's, to make any kind of impact when the opposite team is just sat so deep and everyone's behind the ball and all the rest of it. Whereas Harvey Elliott playing right wing has to do something. Like, that is his job. He's got to try and do stuff. So I can understand it to an extent, but he wasn't necessarily doing it in a way where it shows that he's the one who's got to be in, sort of thing. But like Guy says, he's at the minute this year kind of competing with Salah in terms of position.
Mm.
I mean, you said this last year. I still thought at the time probably there is something to make of Elliott, but I just don't think in the way that we play now he has a role as such.
No, I don't either.
He's kind of between two or three roles.
He's too small and too slow to play as a midfielder. Because like our 10 isn't really a 10, it's an advanced midfielder. And he's too small and too slow to do that. He doesn't have the physicality. And he doesn't have the pace out wide. Now, he does have the creativity potentially to play there. But the problem is when you're coming in from Mo, you're always going to be judged against an unfair standard. Like,
the thing is, for Elliott, the way he does play and what he's good at, you need the rest of the team to be shaped a particular way, and that's you need Conor Bradley style at right back who's going to overlap you all the time.
Exactly. You need that power runner to go by him, get 2v1 so that he can fake the pass, come in field, and then maybe play a delayed pass to Bradley angling a run or to a striker. Like, he needs someone that's going to make those runs 9 times out of 10.
You also need base fronts to the other side as well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And look, it's unfortunate, but the fact of it is, this manager doesn't appear to... Not that he doesn't rate him. I hate when I see people say that. I just don't think he sees that he fits into how he wants to play.
Yeah.
And therefore, the ultimate end game with this is that we will sell Harvey Elliott and get a good price for him, hopefully in the region of 35-40 million, all of which will be pure profit because, we signed him for buttons and that will be well paid off. and he goes on somewhere else where the team is more orientated around him, and he can, be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, as opposed to, the role he has at Liverpool. Because he's clearly a very talented footballer. He's going to have a good, long career. It's just not going to be with us.
Whilst we're on Elliot, I'll start with you, David. Do you think there's any danger of it? You mentioned selling him. Any danger of it being like a Cole Palmer moment for us?
No, he's not a Cole Palmer.
Do you not think?
When Cole Palmer was at City sitting on the bench and Harvey was starting far too often for us, you could still tell that Cole Palmer had something more about him than Harvey does. Like, there's no hidden factor with Harvey. The guy has played a lot of football. In fact, he's played too much football. And when Klopp left and said, well, my biggest regret is not playing Harvey Elliott more, we knew then it was absolutely the right time to go. Because the fact of it is he played Harvey too much. Like, this lad has played 173 or 174 senior games already. He is 21. He is a very talented footballer. He's not like a generationally special talent that wants that kind of game time. The issue with Cole Palmer at City was he wasn't getting the games. If he'd played 170 games for City, there's not a hope in hell they'd have ever sold him. So there's no surprise factor with Harvey. He will develop and he will become a better player than he is now. But he's not going to go somewhere and all of a sudden turn into like Mark Odegaard or Bernardo Silva. He's not going to turn into that player overnight.
No, I thought it was just interesting because I think he's a year younger. I was just wondering. But Karl, similar question to you. If he does move on, I couldn't see, say, Chelsea moving in for the Cole Palmer comparison. But it wouldn't surprise me a Brighton move in. I could see him fit in their system quite well. Potter's obviously now at West Ham. That'd be a good move. I personally don't want to see him sold. I wouldn't surprise me if that is the end outcome, though. But I would. Maybe I'm kind of convinced.
What purpose does he serve, God?
No, I'm kind of convinced of myself.
It's hurting him. Like as Karl said earlier, he played 150 minutes before this game. We're in January. If he's a player the manager doesn't trust, then there's no point in having him at the club. The same thing goes for Tyler Morton. If the manager's not going to use them, you're wasting resources, paying them, and you're hurting their careers as well because these lads need to go and play regularly. Especially like Harvey and Tyler Morton, the last few seasons have been playing every single week in one way or another.
No, I think you're right there, to be fair. I just thinking, you've mentioned it there, he's played too much. I think if it was just a reset where he can now become more of an impact sub and see how he develops, but I don't think football works like that, does it? You can't really reset going from a starter to an impact sub and then become a starter again. I've never really seen that happen. But yeah, Karl, your thoughts on it, and if he were to move on, what level do you think it would be? Would it be Europa League or Champions League or whatever?
That's a big variance, because we've got some pretty crappy teams in the Champions League this year, let's be perfectly honest.
Oh, yeah.
I think in terms of Premier League clubs, I think if you want to be an every single week starter, I would see him, let's say, of the type of team, without thinking too much in depth of tacticals and all that, Bournemouth, Brentford, that kind of side. I think he starts for that level of club,
Bournemouth's a good one, I think.
Anyone who's around that sort of, in general speaking, 8th to 12th kind of range and trying to break into those teams who should be above them, even though like about 3 of them are not at the moment, obviously. But around that kind of level, I think if you want to be an every single week starter, if you want to be playing a bit above that and trying to get more game time, Newcastle, he's not like a lightning winger, but at the minute, the talk is that obviously they want a right-sided player, so maybe that kind of is something that they consider.
The absolute disparagement of Jacob Murphy's good.
I mean, well, that's the thing.
He's the best player in the country at the moment.
Well, whether he is or isn't, I think he might be a very, very good player, but he's at the
club. Oh, yeah, like Harvey could fit there. He could play for Bournemouth as a 10. Does he start every game? Maybe, maybe not. They've got a lot of good options, but he'd certainly play more for them than us. Brentford is one I like, especially with, the possibility that Mbomo goes and they get Igor Thiago playing, so maybe the shape changes a little bit. So he could fit well there. Like Brighton, as Guy mentioned, they've been linked, but there's a lot of players in that Brighton squad for those attacking roles. He's not getting in on the wing at Brighton.
If I want first team football, I'm not moving to Brighton.
No, I don't think so either. And like Guy mentioned West Ham, I could see him working well under Potter, but it would mean like Paqueta or Kudus would have to be gone. And even if Kudus goes, that's only the left wing role that's open. And Paqueta would have to be gone because he could only really play the 10 there because Bowen's going to be on the right.
Or Bowen up front and him right.
Yeah, that could work either in 4-2-3-1. But it's that level of club. Like that's where he's got to be looking.
I think from a Liverpool perspective though, if you look at the upcoming run of games that we've got, for example, you look at Salah's non-performance against Tottenham. If there came a game that he's not playing well in and you want to bring someone on for Salah, or let's say Ramadan coming up later in the year and maybe Salah can't play 90 minutes anyway all the time or whatever, who are you going to call on first? I'm not thinking Harvey Elliott is the one to call upon right now.
No, I don't think so.
Probably Chiesa or Diaz right wing and play Darwin through the middle, or Jota, or some variation of that. That's where I am at the minute. And
so that's the thing, like he didn't even come off the bench in that Spurs game.
No.
Like just to go back to Cole Palmer. So Cole Palmer had just turned 21 when he left City. Harvey turned 21 just before the end of last season. Harvey had played 164 senior games for Liverpool, Fulham and Blackburn. Cole Palmer had played 41. So Palmer had been underplayed, but Harvey has been drastically overplayed by us. And it's put him us in a position where there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. You can't have a lad go from playing 46 games and 53 games, many of which were starts, to all of a sudden he's played 10 games so far this season. I know he was out injured. So were Ali and Jota, and they're playing regularly again. And he's played 230 minutes or 240 minutes after today. Like, that's just not going to work. Jurgen, because it was Jurgen and Linders, they put the club in a position where Harvey had to be a regular starter, or it was going to lead to a situation where he's probably going to want to leave because they'd played him so much. If he just played a normal amount for the level he was at, he'd have had about 60 games, and then it wouldn't be such a drastic change this year.
No, it's a good point. I'm just curious if there is an explosion there. But when, as you say, playing over 140 odd games, it's not an age thing anymore. It's a time played thing nowadays, isn't it?
If he does explode, as you say, let's not say to Cole Palmer level, but to be a regular first team player, then a team who pays 35 million for him will have paid probably a right amount. That's where it's Elliott's level, to be honest. Not even like he gets to be, an England capacity starter or anything. I just think for the type of player that he is and what he looks capable of doing on a game-to-game basis, because he's not the most consistent of players, let's be honest, even when he was playing regularly. You're just not looking in the elite category, and that's perfectly fine. It still means he's a really good player, but I think if anyone pays above 35 for him, that's an incredible piece of work on our side rather than anything else. In terms of game time, talked about Federico Chiesa barely getting on the pitch. Before kickoff today, Elliott had played 24 minutes more than him.
Yeah.
Okay. When you put it like that, Jesus.
No one could fit really well is Crystal Palace, who have badly missed Michael Elise. Now, he's not close to the level of talent that Elise is, but he's a similar type of player. And in that 3-4-2-1, as one of the two behind the striker, that could suit Harvey quite well, where he'd have a lot of space to play in.
There you go. Maybe Man United will buy him then. 60 million and a sell-on fee.
And we'll take that Carreras kid that you have the buyback on as well. You'll waive that and we'll buy him from Benfica and solve our left-back problem. Deal.
All sounds good. To be fair, just whilst we're speculating, Harvey in the Bundesliga or something like that wouldn't surprise me as well.
That's where he could really put up numbers.
Yeah.
Because, like, Sancho's not the quickest of players either. And yet he thrived over there. You know, so Harvey could do very well in the Bundesliga. And there has been mention that Dortmund could be interested. So, you know, maybe.
He was linked, wasn't he? But anyway, let's move on from Elliot.
Jamie Gittins, swap deal?
True. Or we could go to Leverkusen and steal some people. Anyway, let's move on from Elliot, although my next note is Elliot defending quite well with Trent on a counter-attack. Karl, second goal. Trent, we mentioned it earlier, just kind of showing, even he was kind of walking football at times, but Trent does that in Premier League games as well, to be fair. But he just smashes it. The keeper's never saving that. He has too much space on the right-hand side. It's just a phenomenal finish.
Yeah, brilliant hit. It was pretty good work down the left-hand side initially as well. But we spoke about him and Dom earlier on, and sometimes you can just see that they are a level above, and the angle on the shot, the cleanliness of the strike, the timing of it, all the rest of it. I mean, even where Trent picks up the ball, to be honest, you can see that the difference is there because their team is in shape, let's say, and they are man-to-man for who they should be, but they're not expecting that position to be there on the pitch, moving higher than their holding midfielders. And that's where he picks the ball up. It's in between sort of their sort of midfielder who sort of pushes out, and then the centre-backs are obviously too far away to stop. So it's not much of a gap to get through in terms of the defences in the way, the goalkeeper's there and the top corners where it always is. But Trent, we know, is capable of finding it, and it's a pretty good hit, to be fair. I think most people behind the goal that surprised that he'd even shot, never mind it went in.
And he made it look so easy. And he just makes it look so easy. And it nearly frustrates you that he doesn't do it more often. But, like, it's such a clean hit.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.